There is a huge bull market forming in Bitcoin and crypto, but not just in Bitcoin and crypto, also in the United States stock market. And many people are wondering what my strategy is for wealth generation. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what I and my family are going to be doing to generate wealth for ourselves here in the upcoming cryptocurrency market. So if you want to see what myself, somebody who's been working in cryptocurrency for over 6 years and running a channel here in the industry and doing technical analysis on the market for over 6 years, is doing, then stay tuned, because I'm going to tell you exactly what my plan is for the rest of 2023, 2024, and the beginning of 2025. So let's get started with where we are starting. Moving here into the beginning phase of the bull market, I have a very large position in cash. I have a very large position in Bitcoin and a slightly smaller position in Ethereum. And I mostly just held on to Bitcoin and Ethereum to ride out the bear market because I knew some of the altcoins were going to drop to huge lows. And I'll admit, I wish I had gotten started about a month ago, but I have now started with exactly the strategy that I've been encouraging you guys to take on dollar cost averaging into the actual altcoin market. So just yesterday I was on Coinbase. I bought for us some Cardano, some Avalanche, Chainlink, Polygon, let's see if I can remember all of them off the top of my head, Cosmos, Lumens, Solana, some Ethereum. I have a good bit of Ethereum. I want some more, and probably missing one or two, but basically the top 20. Lumens is not in the top 20, but just outside the top 20. Bought some Lumens, Dogecoin and SHIB. Bought a little bit of Dogecoin and SHIB because I do believe that they're going to that they have a pretty strong likelihood of going back to all-time highs. Well, just because of the quote-unquote fundamentals. The charts look awful. Not a fan of the fundamentals at all. But just knowing how cryptocurrency works, guys, I mean, come on, they're probably going to go back to all-time high or at least rally some. So that's kind of our broad investment. I already have a large portion, a very large portfolio in Bitcoin and Ethereum, as I said, more so into Bitcoin. But dollar cost averaging with a couple of the revenue streams that I have, we've got about 8 different revenue streams right now, and so several of those I'm putting just straight into, just kind of like fire hose, just pointing them straight at altcoin investment right now. Getting into basically everything in the top 20. I want to get some Tron, don't have any Tron yet. Want to get a little bit of a few other altcoins. Really excited about Cardano, really excited about Solana, and they both just rallied big time. I put double into those yesterday, and funnily enough, those were the two that rallied today, so very happy about that. That's kind of our short-term plan. The other plan is this year we also as a family just started investing in the stock market. So I maxed out my Roth IRA the day I opened it. So that's been invested in the U.S. stock market. It's about up like $200 right now or so. Maxing out a Roth IRA, $6,500. So signed a check, put $6,500 in there. We're going to open my wife's Roth IRA, max out that, put it straight into the U.S. stock market. And by the stock market, I mean the S&P 500. Before it resets coming into the new year, then we'll max it out again next year. And that's kind of our retirement long-term play. We're not going to touch that money for 20, 30, 40 years. But we're kind of cycling out of a little bit of the Bitcoin, taking some profits because it's pretty much tripled from where I bought some of it, down at $15,000 to $18,000, where we accumulated some of it. Moving that into altcoins and trying to get in position with a large amount of Bitcoin, but also a large altcoin portfolio that when we go back to all-time high, on Bitcoin, the altcoins are probably going to go up 200, 300, 400, 500%, some of them 1,000%. And then what we're going to do is we're going to have probably a multi-7-figure portfolio at the end of the bull market. And when we do, then we're going to cycle out of those projects, hold on to maybe 10 or 20% of them and ride them through the bear market, because I don't think the next bear market will be as bad as this one. Same way this bear market was not as bad as the 2018-19 bear market. We'll hold on to maybe 10 or 20% of them, cycle out the rest of it, take it as profits, invest it in either the stock market, put a bunch of it in a cash position, potentially in like a stable coin yielding 5 to 10%. If T-bills are still getting 5%, maybe something like that. Cycle into some kind of cash account where it's still generating revenue, still generating something, and then be ready to buy the next bear market. That'll probably be late 2025 on into 2026, and then rinse and repeat and do the same thing until Bitcoin levels out and starts acting like the stock market, where it just goes up for 10 years straight. And that'll probably end up happening at some point in the early 2030s. I think we're going to have at least 2 more bull market, bear market cycles. So this is kind of my strategy for this cycle. And for the next one, that'll likely come later on in the decade. At the same time, with some of those profits, we're going to put some of it into potentially real estate. We've been wanting to get into real estate for many years. My wife's always been very interested in real estate. Obviously, we own our own house, so in that way we're invested in real estate, but we're interested in getting into some multifamily stuff, maybe some duplexes, triplexes, quadplexes, maybe even a small apartment complex. If we make several $1 million in the bull market like we think we will, then we'll probably be able to get our foot in the door on the real estate venture, start putting some money over there, put a huge amount down so it's just cash flowing a bunch. And from there, that's kind of our strategy. That's kind of our plan. Just max out our Roth IRA every year, both of them. That's $13,000. Then we'll probably also open a 401k with a company, pay ourselves through that. So there's tax advantages there, all legal, nothing illegal. But getting some legal tax breaks there. One of the best ways to save money and invest in your financial future is to know how to play the tax game. So we're looking to grow in our understanding of that a lot more over the course of the next few years. And we have some pretty aggressive goals by the time we hit 30. We want to build generational wealth. I want to be able to not even so much leave money to my children, but leave a legacy of entrepreneurship to my children and be able to teach them from experience and say, look, you're 18, daddy's worth $250 million, and he built that. He and your wife, your mother, my wife, built that together because we followed the principles of financial sovereignty. And that's kind of the dream that we have, is how do we become extremely organized in our finances, extremely organized in our personal life? How do we become extremely organized in our investments in the cryptocurrency market? How do we become very knowledgeable about cryptocurrency, about real estate, about stock market, about technical analysis, about investment, about the principles of financial organization and sovereignty? How do we become experts in that we'd be able to be good examples to other people? Because everyone's journey is not going to look the same. Some of you guys are going to be billionaires. Some of you guys might not be, and that's okay, because financial sovereignty is not the same thing as being rich. A financially sovereign person is a person that is in control over their finances. And if Jesus were to come down to earth today and tell you, give it all to the poor, as he did 2,000 years ago, would you do it? If you're financially sovereign, you would, because you were told to by your Lord, So it's about being in control over your money. It's not about being exorbitantly rich, because let me tell you something, guys. I've had the fancy cars. I've had fancy trips. I've had fancy dinners at fancy restaurants, at fancy hotels. I've done all the fancy stuff. I've spent $10,000 on a weekend before on a conference and stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, that's not what brings me fulfillment. What brings me fulfillment is doing a good job. And people, and especially my wife and my children, being able to look at me and say, he was a good leader of us. He was a good and faithful steward of what he was entrusted with. We know that when we reach the end of the race, if we do a good job, then God will tell us, well done, my good and faithful servant. And I want to be told that with my finances, but I also want to be told that with the life that I've lived from a moral standpoint. And so being in a position where God has put it on my heart to be a teacher, where God has put it on my heart to understand how to be a wise steward of finances through a lot of mistakes, but also through a lot of things that I've done right and that I've been led in and done correctly, it has given me this lifelong passion and desire to teach you guys how to be faithful stewards of your money. Because I do believe that getting your money right will help you to get a lot of the rest of your life right. There's so many people that I know that have great hearts for helping people, but their life's a mess. Their life's just a complete and utter mess. Their finances are a mess. Their home's a mess. They're just so disorganized. And I've been that person for so long in my life, and there's still things that I'm not perfect in and that I want to work on. You're always going to have projects that you want to work on. But it's my dream to make those decisions I just shared for you, kind of the next 2 to 3 year plan that we've got going on, build some generational wealth, and along the way, learn more, teach more, and help you guys to grow more into the financially sovereign individual that I believe you can be. A person that is in control over their finances rather than their finances controlling them. Cryptocurrency is going to play a large part in that. Don't neglect the stock market. The stock market's also going to probably rally 25%. The levels you're seeing on the S&P 500 right now, you're never going to see again. So if you haven't opened your Roth IRA, do it. If you've got a 401k with a match, then open that. Take your 3% a year contribution or whatever it is, and get rid of your high yield debt. And come with me on this journey, because I'm going to follow that plan. I'm going to tell you how it works, and we're going to make a lot of money, and we're going to be able to help a lot of people with it. And it's never been about the money. It's never been about being rich. I don't care. Believe it or not, I don't care 2 craps worth being rich. I don't care about that. I want to know that I'm being a good steward of it. That's the real goal. That's the real light at the end of the tunnel for me, is being able to look back on my life and say, I did a good job. There's plenty of times I can look back on my life and I can say, I didn't do a good job. I'll give you one more example of kind of a regret that I have. And this is going to sound braggadocious, and I'm really sorry. I don't know how to, I'm going to try and tell the story in a way that is not bragging. But it is, it's a regret of mine. I want to tell the story and be vulnerable. I could have been valedictorian in high school. We had about a 100-person class, not a huge class, but I graduated third in my class. And the first 5 semesters, I got straight A's except a B+. Because I wasn't applying myself. I wasn't trying. I never studied. Ever. I just showed up, did the test because I've got like a photographic memory or whatever, and I just got a B+ in one class for 5 semesters straight, all of 9th grade, first year of 10th grade. From there, I got straight A's for the rest of my high school tenure, and I was best friends with a guy named Alex, and he ended up being the valedictorian, and he earned it. He worked his tail off. He's very smart individual, and I'm glad that he got the chance to go up there and speak, and I'm glad that he did it. I would have given it to him because he's such a great guy. Don't get me wrong. He actually designed the first logo for the CryptoJeb YouTube channel, so shout out to my old friend Alex. But I know that if I had have actually applied myself, and if I had have actually been a good steward of my studies and been organized, I could have had straight A's, because I was given a gift and I didn't use it. I wasn't studious. I wasn't diligent. You know, I was given a brain, so I didn't end up having any discipline. I wasn't organized, and I shot myself in the foot. And again, I don't care about the honor of being valedictorian, but I felt like an idiot because I could have done it, you know, and I didn't, because I wasn't a faithful steward. And like my wife, I told you guys earlier, she's graduating today from college. And I told her, I'm like, Sarah, look, you give it everything you have so that whether you pass or fail, when you get to the end of that race, when you finish that class, you can at least look back and say, even if I failed, it was not for lack of effort, because I gave it everything I had. And I just failed because it just wasn't in me. She didn't fail. She passed, and she's graduating today, so I'm very happy for her. But there were different times she's like, I can't go to class today, I'm not feeling good, or I can't do this homework, there's not enough time. I'm like, Sarah, make sure that when you finish this race, you get to look back and say, I gave it everything I had. I left nothing on the table. And so, in a way, it's kind of not on me that I didn't succeed. It just wasn't in the realm of possibility. And I look back on my life, there's a lot of times where I did a really good job, and I was very blessed. But if I had have actually given it my all, it could have been a lot better. And I don't want that this time. I want to grow and be a better steward in the future. And I'm hoping that you guys will join me on that journey. And if you're interested in joining me on that journey, consider hitting the like button. It helps to support this channel and the algorithm. If you think more people need to hear this message, consider subscribing to the channel if you want to join me on this journey. And please pray for me. You know, please pray for me that I'd stay humble and that I would keep the Lord first, and that I would share the gospel with you guys, and that I'd be a good, faithful steward of my finances, of our finances, and that, you know, we'd be able to teach a lot of people and bring a lot of people to know the Lord, but also a lot of people to have a lot of success financially. So I kind of broke down for you my plan, and I also kind of broke down for you my why. I'd love to hear the same kind of breakdown from you in the comments down below if you're interested. What's kind of your plan for this bull market? What are you planning on doing? You don't have to get specific, you don't have to use numbers, but what's your plan, and what's your motivation? You know, I want one day for my son to be walking across the graduation stage and look out there and say, I was inspired by my father's work ethic and by his diligence and by his discipline, and that's what got me here. As far as not to take it away from my son if he graduates college, that'd be awesome. But I want him to know that he had somebody he could look up to, and that's what motivates me. So what motivates you? Love to hear it in the comment section down below. It's going to be a big bull market. Looking forward to it. If you want to learn about technical analysis, the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy is down there. We've taught 5,000 people how to do TA. And so if you want to learn technical analysis, I don't think there's a better place to do it. You can find the link down below. Peace.